Hey guys, I hope you're all well. Those of you joining from my channel, we are going to be talking strongman and arm wrestling today. I'm going to be working at Knuckles Up 5. Fifth one you guys have put on. Will is from Knuckles Up and the High Five. You've been putting on Knuckles Up now for a couple of years. You're going to be back at the Arnolds this year, which is awesome. I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys there. I'm going to be over for the strongman, but there's a lot of strong men and strong women getting into arm wrestling, especially us older has-beens that maybe used to be pretty strong, and we still want to be competitive. I've obviously got, those that follow my channel know how much I love arm wrestling, and I'm going to be working at Knuckles Up. For those of you from my channel watching this, that's the reason we're on here today. My next job next weekend, not this weekend coming, but next weekend.
Yeah,
I'm heading over to the States. You guys have put a lot of good cards on already. You're trying to get, the arm wrestling side of things bigger and better over in the States. And it is popular over there right now. You really notice, the popularity is just growing and growing. Over in the UK, getting a bit bigger. There's a lot more interest, particularly, like I said, from the strongman. We've got like Eddie Hall just competed against Brian Shaw. Myself, Rob Frampton, have been kind of on the scene for a couple of years. But we've got some of the strong women getting into the sport as well. So it's pretty cool to see that kind of crossover. Obviously, strength is important, but arm wrestling is a different beast. It's very humbling.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, first, thank you so much for hopping on here together. For all of our followers, I hope you guys are as excited as I am, because we have the Big Laws himself. So you guys have to watch out. He's coming for you. I'm telling you, when I felt him at the last Knuckles Up, I was scared. So yeah, the strongman invasion has definitely started. But yeah, we are on our 5th event. We're super excited. The fact that we've gotten to where we are in just under 2 years has been absolutely incredible. We went from a team in New Jersey to now, I would say, the second best, fighting to be the #1 arm wrestling production in the world. So we're really excited about that, and getting more athletes such as yourselves and people involved from all different sports, I think, is kind of our goal. Is we're with the Arnold and all of our qualifiers is to really create a farming system. So, we want to start clubs in high schools and in colleges, and then allow people to see a path to becoming, great, right? I'm sure the reason why you started competing in strongman is you wanted to be the best you could be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So we just want to create that path. And why not in arm wrestling? Because who doesn't love arm wrestling? It's one of those things that once you do it, you're like, this is cool. This is
I think once you kind of get the bug, you absolutely love it. Once you understand arm wrestling, I do think a few things need to change with arm wrestling to really hit the masses, because I think unless you're into it, watching two guys take ages in the setup and slip and end up like, you can sit there waiting for 10 minutes before anything happens. And I think that's something that maybe to attract a bigger audience needs to be worked on. I think once you get into arm wrestling and you understand what they're doing in the setup and you kind of understand the tactics that are involved, it does become interesting. But everyone likes to see the power, just like, we all want to see the big punch in a boxing match. We all want to see the kind of the power unleashed. But one of the skills with arm wrestling is very much it is a skill. It's like a boxer against a puncher. You learn to box well, you don't get hit. And it's the same thing with arm wrestling. If you can arm wrestle well, you can nullify someone's power. And it's so fascinating for me, especially as a strength coach. Someone's got, they've got that experience in strength sports, and from that coaching side of things, I love that tactical side. And it's not something I'm particularly good at in the arm wrestling world. It's something that I'm just enjoying learning about, but I find it fascinating when you can see someone just tactically break down a stronger athlete.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we could go the exact opposite route and just like, I was thinking, I love the point you brought up too about, we have to simplify the sport to make it more accessible. But then I watch things like the slap fighting and I'm like, what if we just call it arm breakers and you can only leave the table until a bone is snapped, But no, you're 100% right. The little nuances are what make it really cool. Because I remember when my fiance first started, kind of getting into it, because she saw me competing and she's like, what? And then now she'll be like, oh, did he just top roll that guy? I'm like, yeah, he did. Oh, did he just do this and that? I'm like, yeah. And she was with us at King of the Table. I was like, what's your favorite match? She was like, oh, Brian Shaw and Eddie. That was so cool. Yeah. Now to like an arm wrestler, we were like, it was a good match. But then, like to us, we're all like, oh, but some of those other matches, like Gabby's match was incredible.
Do you know what's great about arm wrestling? I think as long as you get the right level opponents against each other, it can be so entertaining. The worst thing is to see someone too good against someone that's not very good. You know, if you've got that big gap in standard, yeah, it's boring as hell. But when you get two guys really close, that's when it's interesting. And that's the great thing. You can have like these, I'll call them celebrity matches of like strongmen coming in, doing them, powerlifters, whoever it might be. Because the top arm wrestlers are going to beat those guys at the moment. It would just be pointless to put them in against that. But you get two level athletes against each other, it's entertaining as hell.
Oh, always. And as long as we can, mitigate the risk factor, which I think the way that this occurred with Eddie and Brian was a great example. They both, I mean, Brian's been training for a long time for it, but even Eddie saying he only had about 6 to 8 weeks. In those 6 to 8 weeks, as long as you're with someone who teaches you, like, hey, just don't get into a break arm position and you'll be fine. Just imagine, like, you're right. Imagine the possibilities of matches. There's so many, like, maybe we could actually see Sylvester Stallone and Arnold on a table. Something like that would be awesome. But yeah, I'm just excited in the direction the sport is growing. I think, having people such as yourselves and more people who have a larger following and who are coming from that strength background can kind of shuttle more people. No, you're broken. We want you. You can't squat anymore. That's okay.
You still got an arm.
You got one good arm. Oh, we can take you on. It'll be a good time.
I don't even have one good arm, but I'm still here and I love it.
That's what I'm saying. And even the interesting thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? I'm sure they will hate me if I get this wrong, all of your followers and everybody watching, but you've torn both biceps. Okay, so torn both biceps, but you're already starting to compete at I would say a higher level in arm, more than like the guy that's been there the first time, right?
Yeah, I'm no longer a novice.
Sure, exactly. So you would definitely compete well at the amateur competitions, and maybe in a year or so, kind of get the lower level pro, right?
Hopefully, that's the goal. Keep progressing.
What's so cool is even with 2 torn biceps, if you learn the hand control, if you get a stronger wrist, and if you learn to do and manipulate these things, you can still be very competitive. Like, let's be real. Devin Larratt doesn't have that strong of a bicep.
Sure. No.
Like, comparatively to the rest of his build and everything, but he's built in, this decrepit, weird physique over time to be able to do these incredible things. But I actually just listened to a YouTube and a podcast of one of your athletes, Mitchell Hooper, correct?
Yeah.
He was just with Dr. Mike Israetel, and they were talking specifically about bicep tendons. And Mitchell had a very interesting theory about not training his biceps. Therefore, they wouldn't become at risk to get popped in strongman because everybody pops their arms. And at the end of the day, the conclusion was that having a really strong bicep or a weak bicep, either way, the pressure's on the tendon. But I guess the point I'm getting to is we can utilize these athletic backgrounds from so many different strength sports and apply them in different ways to arm wrestling. Like, imagine we got, one of the best shot putters in the world. Imagine how good of a presser they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be pretty interesting. I just can't wait to see more people, kind of coming over to the dark side.
And I think we will. As the sport grows, there's more money going into it. You're going to attract better athletes. And, that's not to take away from the athletes that are there now, because there's some incredible athletes. But same with strongman, the more money we've seen, we start attracting better athletes. The sports with the biggest money are always going to attract the best athletes. That's why the guys in the NFL are freaks of nature. We'd love to get some of them over to these sports, but they're going to choose, the route that pays the best. But you always get those athletes that just love what they do. And we do see some incredible athletes, both in arm wrestling and in strongman. Anyway, not this weekend, next weekend. You guys have me coming over. I cannot wait. You've got the biggest card I've ever seen you put on. It's absolutely huge this time. Some incredible arm wrestlers. I know you want to talk about that. You must be excited with the lineup that you've got.
I am absolutely thrilled. 13 super matches, a double headliner event, and those two, we'll start from the top, okay? Because the top is really where the amount of excitement I won't be able to control. Laz, you're going to be yelling at me, but Will, just shut up.
I'll bring some level of calmness to it.
Yeah, I think
you just hype it up as much as you like. It's
and then you're just going to hear the smooth, beautiful British accent take over while I'm just freaking out in the corner. But yeah, we're very excited, and we're finishing off the night with Yordan Sanev and Farid Uzmanov. Sorry. They're both of them are multiple world champions, and both of them, this is where a little bit of the politics comes in, Laws. They haven't been able to compete at East versus West and King of the Table because we won't get into the whole thing. There's a bit of a riff in the political world of arm wrestling, but these two guys, I would say, are the top two contenders to crack the top 5 of the world. Honestly, if you gave them the incentive, they could be pulling against, a Levon level type match within a year. Yeah. So to have them going against each other, I think is going to be absolutely incredible. If you guys haven't seen already, go on our YouTube and watch the match between Yordan Sanev and Marcio Barbosa. I mean, Marcio is a brick wall, and Yordan took it down incredible. With a sledgehammer. Yeah. And then our co-main event is also the greatest female arm wrestler of all time, Gabby Vasconcelos, versus Heidi Cordner from the great north of Canada. So we have someone who's, I don't want to say an up-and-comer because Heidi's been around for a very long time, but she's never been given that slot to pull at the top 5 level of the world. And Gabby coming off of a tough loss recently at King of the Table, so she wants to get back on the winning side of the sport, and Heidi wants to prove that she's belongs there. So I think that's going to be a really interesting match as well. And like you said, it's our biggest card, 13 matches. It's going to be nuts. Now, I'm sure you've had time to look over the matches. Is there any of them, whether it's one of the top 2 or others, that really stick out to you?
From watching Sanev in his last match, I'm obviously interested in the main event. That's going to be an incredible match. I'm actually really interested in watching Tom Holland and Ryan Bowen. Yeah. Firstly, because Tom is my friend and I've trained with him multiple times. And Ryan is always an interesting character, someone that, ruffles a few feathers maybe online, but he's a great arm wrestler. And, I think that could be an interesting match. There's the whole card. I mean, let's go through some of the matches if you want, because
definitely. But before we move forward, I will say that is my number. Like, I'm not supposed to pick a favorite, but when we were doing a podcast the other night, Chris was like, I was like, Holland and Bowen. Like, I am so pumped about that. For some reason, like every single time either Tom or Ryan are on a card, their match usually tends to be the match of the night.
I know from I've been lucky enough to follow Tom around a fair bit and I've watched a lot of his matches since I got into arm wrestling because he's one of the top British athletes.
Yeah,
and you don't ever see him in a bad match.
No,
he's just someone that puts it all on the line. Win, lose or draw, he's always giving entertaining matches, and someone that I love to watch and love to learn from.
Yeah, he's super, super intense. And if a lot of people don't know, his father was a championship arm wrestler as well.
And his mother, I believe, as well.
Oh, that I didn't know. So it does run, it runs family. Blood. Yeah. We're starting off the night with a left-handed match, which also, just so you guys can get a taste at home, will be live streamed for free on our YouTube channel. And we're really excited about that. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. So you guys can really see what we're doing. That's Ryan Espy versus the husband of Gabby Vasconcelos, Vitor Munoz, in a left arm match. So that's another thing we try to do at Knuckles of Laws is to highlight the niche parts of the sport, the left arms, the females. I think they need more credit. It's always like, oh, the right arm is the money arm, but that one's going to be a killer match. I'm excited about that.
Well, I've seen Ryan before. I met him a couple of years back.
Yeah,
beast of a man.
Did you know that Ryan had a short stint in Strongman?
I didn't know. No,
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, he has some great photos of him doing like a farmer's carrier with like 300 per hand and all this type of stuff. So you should definitely give a little chat with him. I'm sure he's going to be super pumped to meet you.
I will indeed. Just for those that aren't sure as well, Will used to do Strongman as well, didn't you?
No.
Trained by one of the greatest.
I'm sorry to say this, Laws, my favorite strongman of all time as well. Trained by
Derek Poundstone was your coach, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he was absolutely incredible. Great coach, very knowledgeable. A lot I think one of the coolest things about Derek, and if he ever sees this, hey Derek, hope you're doing well, is that, you know, how do I explain this without sounding cheesy? When I was younger, right, the whole story is like I was about 7, 8 years old, and I was like watching World's Strongest Man on TV with my dad, and he was like, "You could do that one day," and I'm like, "Oh, ho, ho," right? And it stuck with me forever. And at the time, it was like 2000. So a couple years later, it's like 2007, I think, is when he took second place, 2008. And I just something about Derek, like, you know, he's jacked, he was tan, he's from the US, like what? He's a cop, what's not to idolize, right? So I idolized him for years. And the point of my story is when I met him for the first time, it's great when you meet someone and they don't crush your image of them. They lift it even higher. He invited me to his house after the seminar. We drank a beer, even though I was underage. Like, it was great, you know, like just a great guy. But yeah, short stint in Strongman, and then my broken body was like, all right, arm wrestling it is, you know. But yeah, I'm really excited to keep bringing these strongmen over, because eventually it's going to become, unless they're built like you, like it's going to be impossible for like even me. Like, I'm not big enough. I need to be twice my size.
Well, I mean, you've got a very big man on the card coming back. You got Matarangi Hetamoris. I think that guy could make a strong man.
You killed it with the name there. I know you were worried.
I've been practicing. I've been practicing my pronunciations.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's coming back, and then against another huge man, BJ Fakakis, who is coming off of a loss at Knuckles Up, but he had a win and then a loss. He won on Knuckles Up 1 against Paul Cruz. Then he lost against Mindaugas.
Mindaugas Dauskas.
Yeah. Mindaugas Dauskas. Yeah. Mindaugas. That was a killer match as well.
Mindaugas is one of my training partners. So
yeah,
that's cool.
So it's cool because stylistically this matchup is great. They're both outside guys, but they both have extremely strong hands. So I think it's really going to become technical, and yeah, we'll see. And then right after that, our first ladies match of the night, Merlene TQ Barouette from the US versus Yoshiko Arakawa from Japan. Now, most people probably don't know Yoshiko. She's a previous world champion.
I gotta say, I don't know either of these.
It's hard to find footage of Yoshiko, because she was a lot earlier, about 15 years ago is when she was more dominant in the sport. But also there's not much footage from around that time.
Sure.
But she said she's in phenomenal shape. We want to bring her back out. And then Merlene is, she's the queen of New York. She did have a loss on Knuckles Up 2, I believe, against Elizabeth Machik, but she's getting strong again and she wants to come on the card. So we're pumped about that one. Now, the one that I'm not sure how much you looked into, but have you ever seen the Hellboy, Matthias Schlitt?
I have online, yes. I didn't know this is him, but I've seen Hellboy.
Yeah, the massive hand. So what's wild is he's 154 to 160 pounds with an arm the size of yours. Like, it is unreal. It's unreal. And he's going against Cody, who I have now deemed the prodigy, Cody Wood, and he is a young up-and-comer. Guy is wicked strong in a hook, so we're going to see. That's a great question. Before we continue with the card, where have you been kind of feeling comfortable? Have you been liking going outside, liking coming inside with a hook, or how
weird? I arm wrestle differently, right and left-handed. So left-handed more inside, right-handed more top roll.
Okay. Is it due to the injuries on either side, or is it just a natural?
My left hand or my left arm is weak due to the bicep tear on the left arm is left me with a piss poor bicep strength. So I really have to just commit to coming in. Whereas I've got more options right-handed.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying.
I gotta say, when you made that post, I want to say it was about a month ago now. You competed. Was it like an amateur nationals or something like that?
I did the novice nationals. Yes.
Yeah. That got a lot of people excited because they were seeing a lot, like,
it was fun getting. Yeah, it's been a while since I got fired up like that, so it was definitely fun, and I want to feel that a little bit more.
Doesn't it feel
that's
good?
what the arm wrestling is bringing me.
hey, you know, technically, we are having our tournament on the morning of. So that's, well, first of all, that's a great thing to say here. Anybody who's interested, the last chance qualifier for the Arnold Classic Arm Wrestling Championship is the morning of Knuckles Up 5 at the Barrymore Film Center. You'll be on the main stage. Laws, there's an amateur division. Please don't yell at me. I'm just saying he might come back with a medal around his neck.
Well,
you know,
we'll see.
no, but that's so cool to hear, though. I mean, I'm the same way. I know, I can't do much on the right arm at all right now. I'm pretty sure I have to have what they call a bicep tendinectomy, where they're going to detach it from the shoulder and then screw it back in, because the tear in my shoulder is getting so bad to where, like, I can't curl without pain more than like a 30-pound dumbbell, and like pretty significant pain.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I have a huge strength difference between the two arms.
Yeah,
like my right arm, when I'm doing anything arm wrestling training wise, you do the single arm stuff. The left arm's given up pretty quickly, and the right arm will just keep going. So,
yeah, it's so frustrating because I just want to keep going.
My wrist and hand are fine, but it's the bicep that causes me the problems.
Well,
but
what you might find too is, even with myself, my right hand and forearm and wrist are getting way stronger because I can't utilize my bicep at all.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if I do get the surgery and this does get stronger one day, I'll come back a beast. But as of right now, I'm just like, all right, well, this one's strong, this one's doing okay. We'll just keep chugging along.
yeah.
But we will get there. Oh, I didn't lose you. I think I still have you there.
You got me?
Oh, you get perfect. Sorry.
Yeah.
But to keep going with the card, right? Next up, we have someone who most people don't know, Nicholas Stone. He's a tri-state local guy versus the number one in Japan, Toshiyuki Shishido.
I saw Toshiyuki last time. I was over, right?
Yep, and he pulled against Matsurengi Hedemorris in the last one with a very impressive, somehow losing his wrist and just pressing to the pad on the outside. Oh,
awesome elbow strength in that boy.
Oh yeah, super crazy. But Nick Stone, on the other hand, has been now arm wrestling for a while. He actually, I don't know if you were there, but he did have a super match at the Shaw Classic. I think it was last year.
I think it was the year before,
or 2 years before. Yeah, he did have a super match there. He actually has a powerlifting background. He and I actually crossed paths. He didn't even realize. This is like 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago. I remember I'm at like one of my first ever powerlifting meets, and some guy just walks out like 360 pounds, massive tattoo on his back, and like in a Leviathan from Inzer. And just deadlifts like 940. And I was like, what the? Yeah, who is this guy? His blood pressures are going to burst through his freaking suit. But yeah, he's an incredible athlete and super, super strong. So that one's going to be cool. And then moving right along, we have Nadia Wojcinski versus Tati. She'll go by Tati Faria. So Tati's from Brazil. Nadia originally from Ukraine, and she is another one, two-time WAL hammer holder.
Nice. I've seen Nadia before.
Yeah, Nadia, she competed on Knuckles Up 3 against Danielle Evenson and just wiped the floor with her. Danielle's great up-and-comer. Yep. And then following them, number one in Korea of Ji Hyun Min versus Paul Passmore from the United States. Paul's last big match was at they had a East versus West. I can't remember the name of the series that they had in Florida, Challenger Series. That's what it was. So he's coming off of a win. Ji Hyun coming off of a win over in Asia. He actually just went against Toshiyuki Shishido. They had competed at Knuckles Up. Toshi won, and then he just took it on the revenge. So then maybe they'll have some beef in the press conference. We'll see.
Nice.
But I'm actually very excited. Laws, I don't know how we're going to fit. We have 26 athletes.
26 athletes, and you've got some beef in these athletes. There is some big.
We're beef.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out how we're going to fit them on the stage.
It's going to be. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. We are actually, so no one knows this. So unless you're watching, you won't know this until the day of. But Laz, I'm taking a chapter out of the Strongman Handbook. They're going to be coming out representing their countries with their flags. We got the flags ready. Chris and I, when we were talking about this, I was like, it is the coolest thing. It's got to feel like, I don't know, you tell me. Every time you walked out with the flag, how did that feel for you?
Oh, it's always awesome. Always, to represent your country at a big sporting event, it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing like strongman style. So you're just going to have to, just embrace Giants Live and Neil Pickup and just dominate the. No, I'm really excited. But we're going to do a full blown country representation. We're going to walk just how we walked out the athletes last time, but they'll have their flags and they'll be able to wave them proudly, which I'm really excited about. I think
nice,
awesome.
Nice. Then you're getting into the big matches, I can see.
Yep. Then second half of the card, we start off with, what a match. Ryan Bowen, Tom Holland. Who do you got? Just tell me. You got it. It's okay. I can't be biased, but you can.
Biased, not biased. It's. I think both of these guys are phenomenal, but I have got to go with Tom Holland. Yeah. Tom Holland is my boy, and he's looking good. I know he's excited for the match, so. Ryan obviously he's got to lose the weight as well. I think he's got to get his weight down, which is he's been dropping a lot of weight, but I still believe he's got a little bit to go.
And from what I hear, it's getting tough on him.
Yeah, so I'm going with Tom on that one. He's comfortably at weight and he's looking strong.
I mean, I think the fact that he's just comfortable where he's sitting, I think that's going to be a massive advantage. Yeah. I know Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. He was like, "Can I get an extra day to fuel up?" And I'm like, "No, you got to stick to the schedule."
Yeah.
Which, if you don't mind, I'm so curious on your opinion on this because Chris and I are like butting heads on this subject. I think it should be 2-hour weigh-ins.
I agree with you. I think the fact that some people, they do the weigh-in 2 days before.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. If you were doing a weight class competition, you could be 20 pounds heavier by the time you compete,
if not 30.
Yeah, so I'm someone that I really think weight classes should be, your natural kind of body weight.
Yeah,
I've seen records in strongman and powerlifting, particularly like people doing gym lifts. So they'll say, "Oh yeah, such and such 90 kilo strongman," and they'll do something in the gym at 105 kilos, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to break the record." It's very different.
Exactly.
So,
and not just to mention how dangerous it is, especially
that's the other thing as well. And look, when you're competing for a world title, I get it.
Sure.
I get it, and I'm okay with it. I love the way we can make our bodies do these incredible things.
Yeah, I agree.
But the dangers of losing that much weight, it's significant. And I think a lot of people at a lower level think, "Oh, the pros can do it. I'm going to do it." That's when it becomes really dangerous. When you're a top level pro, it's a bit different. But when you're dieting 20 pounds just to compete in a novice contest, that's when I have a big issue with it.
Yeah, a good friend of mine just asked if I could prep her for her first powerlifting meet, and she's like, "Oh, but I want to lose like 20 pounds. I mean, look, I'm gonna get just enjoy it."
Yeah,
I mean, she's a pro bodybuilder, an IFBB pro, so she's very competitive as it is. But I was like, just enjoy it. Don't worry about a weight cut.
It's miserable doing a weight cut like that. I mean, I've seen athletes who, they look like they're dying.
Yeah,
it's not fun. If you're competing at the absolute elite level, I understand it. Go for it. But personally, I think weigh in as close to the event as possible. It's going to stop that extremeness.
Exactly. And maybe if there's big money on the line, like, okay, I understand. But great, I'm going to tell Chris that maybe moving forward we'll have to do 2-hour weigh-ins. I know the athletes won't be happy about that.
No, of course.
But I think it's also a step in the right direction of what you talked about earlier of making the sport more standardized, making it more accessible and for people to understand it better.
You find, I mean, if you do that, you do limit people to their classes, but that's just the way it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is too, is that let's say it wasn't 2, let's say it was 8-hour weigh-ins or something like that. Like,
morning of, whatever.
Yeah, the morning of, right? Let's say it's the morning of so you're going to have at least 4 to 6 hours, let's say, right? All right, in 4 to 6 hours, if you really wanted to, you could get an IV drip to help a little bit, get some food and everything in you. You probably put on maybe 10 pounds back. But I remember Devin, recently when he competed in, what was it, the 105? I think it was the 105s.
Yeah.
He dropped like what? That was like 35, 40 pounds, something like that.
Something crazy.
And he can afford to do that because his leverages are so wild that he just dominates his opponent.
And Devin is a very experienced athlete.
Yeah.
But when you get inexperienced athletes doing it, that's when you get. I mean, I've seen people just have to stop because they just can't get the weight off.
Have you ever had a client that just wouldn't listen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
Isn't
course.
that fun? That's the absolute best. So right after that match, then we have a local favorite of mine, Jason the Fine Wine Merlot versus Bogdan Stoika. Now, Bogdan has had a lot of matches over at Neil's Arm Wars. Legendary
Bogdan is a beast. An absolute beast, and he's looking very, very good. And I know,
have you been able to pull with him ever on the table yet?
No, I haven't had a chance to practice with him, but I know a lot of guys that have, and I've seen him arm wrestling recently. He is looking in fantastic form. I know he's looking forward to this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I know Jason, he's now kind of dominated the United States, and he wants those international names under his belt. So
this should be an awesome match. But Bogdan is looking extremely strong.
Yeah, and then following that, we have old guard versus new.
This is a fun one for sure.
I think Don's gonna just curse out the camera the whole time or something. But Don Hollywood versus Rickard Borman. So for any of you guys who don't know who are watching, Rickard Borman is a up and coming star out of Australia, New Zealand area. He is absolutely incredible. He is the AWE champion.
Is he like 20?
I want to say he's 22.
Okay,
maybe.
I know he's super young, and he is just an absolute beast.
Background from rugby, and then he had I believe it was a knee injury, I want to say, so it took him out of the sport. He was about to play professionally, and then Ryan Bowen and Matt Connolly, one of the owners of AWE, kind of scalped this kid, and now he's just dominating. From what Ryan says, he is the next Levon. Now,
look, he looks phenomenal. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Don, very experienced arm wrestler. Is he as good as he used to be? I'm not sure. He's still got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. It's going to be a test, but Rickard looks phenomenal.
Yeah, Rickard looks phenomenal. The real question for Don is, if you don't know, Don is a habitual elbow fouler. So can Don keep his elbow down? If he can, I think we're going to have a killer match. And then, right after that, returning champion Mario Tambakis, Super Mario Tambakis, and the legend known as Ron Bath. I am just, wow.
This is going to be a great match, I think.
Yeah, I honestly, Ron's experience is going to just shine incredibly. His hand strength. I think if Ron can come outside, which is the lane he's going to go, he can put up a really good fight against Mario. And I know Mario is just the side pressure king of arm wrestling. So I think it's going to be good. I'm excited. I'm excited. Overall, the card is going to be
like a lot of the old school against the new school type matches going on here. I mean, Ron Bath, one of the absolute legends of arm wrestling.
Really, I mean, amongst this whole card, we have, you're right, multiple old school versus new school matches. Really trying to highlight some of the names that deserve it. One thing that we do pride ourselves is it's styles make matches. It's not just about someone's ranking or whatever. You said it earlier, right? You get two people who are just at the right place at the right time and have the right experience level, and all of a sudden a match that was ends up being like a war of a match. Yeah.
Indeed.
So the real question though, Laws, who do you want to have for your next super match?
Well, I don't know at the moment. I'd love another super match. I want more and more experience. I think someone in the strongman world would be ideal.
Maybe a big chunky American with
I think if we can find some big Americans that want to kind of get on the table, it would be fun. I mean, obviously Brian Shaw would be cool, just because you can't really lose going up against Brian Shaw. He's the favorite to win. It's great publicity. I heard there's a Rob Oberst trying to get into a bit of arm wrestling. That could be a good one for him.
I heard the same.
Little history between us in the strongman world.
I may have been on the phone with him. He may have said a big, towards you, but
he was
good.
But I think a match like that makes sense. There's no point in one of us going against like a Mario Tambakis or something like that. He's just gonna make us look shit.
Well, let me ask you this. So you're obviously now what, about 2 years into the sport, let's say?
Yeah, my age is a little bit longer than that, but just so
Okay.
on and off with
Yeah.
I'm away working 20 weeks of the year, so I miss a lot of table time, and then I've only just recently got into like doing some arm wrestling training in the gym. I
Mm,
do need a lot more table practice. That's where I am lacking at the moment. I've had one tournament and two super matches.
okay.
And the tournament was novice level. Now, at novice level, my strength just helps me. But
Sure.
taking me up to that higher level, it's experience needs. I need to get a lot better at movement through the table. That's what I'm going to try and really work on over the next few months is learning the movement, learning to arm wrestle well, taking that power away. I think I made a mistake my first year, literally just trying to use that strength.
Mm, yeah.
All in the wrong direction. Now I'm starting to understand positioning, but yeah, that's going to be my focus. Is actually try to take the power out and become a good or a better arm wrestler.
And
Because I feel like weights in the gym, I can hang with some good arm wrestlers,
sure.
but it's learning how to apply it on the table, and that's what I'm. There's certain positions now I feel strong. Take me out of that position, I don't feel so good. The setup, things like that, are all, and I'm constantly learning. Even I'll have a match, get on the side table afterwards, and you're kind of starting to understand the mistakes you made. But there's a lot of work to do there. But I'm quite diligent in trying to look at what I made mistakes on and try and get better.
Sure.
So I feel I'm getting better. But then with arm wrestling, it's so frustrating. You feel like, 2 weeks in a row, you feel like, yeah, I'm getting good at this. And then 1 week, you'll just be like, I'm shit.
Oh, because it's so tendon based too. So
Yeah.
once that little thing somewhere in your wrist or elbow gets inflamed, like you have a month of just, man, I'm just trash.
Yes.
I just can't do anything.
Yeah.
But so do you think you'll maybe try to start competing in more tournament based as well, or just
100%. I want to do quite a few tournaments this year, different level tournaments, and just get match practice. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be important for me because I do learn from matches. I think we do, and I actually think I learn more when I lose than when I win.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
When
sure.
you win, you're just like, oh, I'm good. When you lose, you're pissed off with yourself, you're upset, but then you start thinking, well, why did I lose? And then you start looking into it a bit more, and that's kind of been beneficial. So
Yeah, you start
I did the same with Strongman. I lost plenty of times in Strongman before I started winning. So
Yeah.
I'm not giving up just yet. I'm sticking with this, and I'm enjoying it. I love going down to train. Started traveling a bit more when I can to train with different people. I want to continue to do that. Go and train with as many people as I can, learn, and just get more time on the table.
Oh, 100%. And now you're in your middle to later 30s?
I'm in my 40s now, so 42.
Oh, okay, so perfect. So in the next 3 years, all those tendons are gonna just become glorious. So, I mean, look at Devin is 50 and he's at the best he's ever been. Same with Michael Todd. Michael Todd's, I think, 52 right now.
If
So
anyone wants to kind of like help me with some of the treatments they've been having, that would be useful.
that's the answer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every time just there, my shoulder started clicking already. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
where's this magical elixir that
The
everybody's
stem,
talking
the
about?
stem cells they've been getting, I think that's one. Well, that it has to help for sure.
Oh yeah. I got one shot of stem cells from one of our previous sponsors. I just don't think one is enough. I think from what I'm seeing, right, is it's if you can do this on a recurring basis, you end up really like regenerating whatever the issue is. It's a lot of money. That's the problem,
Yeah,
right?
that's my problem. I can't afford it.
Yeah, so we got, hey, whoever's watching, so we got a sponsor laws
If you want
here.
to help out some broken old strongman that wants to get into arm wrestling, I'm
That's
your
it.
man.
Dad, do you think you'll ever get the biceps repaired, or one of them, or both of them?
I want to talk to a surgeon to see if it's possible.
Yeah, because it's been many years, right?
Yeah, but it's something I am thinking about because I think if I want to take it further,
Yeah.
that's something that will have to be looked into.
Who knows? Maybe you and I on Knuckles Up 6 will both be in a sling. I'll get mine fixed. You'll get yours fixed. We'll just be buddies. It'll be
We'll
great.
do it. We'll do it. The problem is your bad arm's your right, and my bad arm's my left. So we'd be useless against each other.
Well, yeah, I guess. But it'll make for good TV at home. That's
Yeah.
all. I'm really excited. So But yeah, we're so excited. We're so happy that you're coming back. You know, bringing a fresh new face to Knuckles Up. And for anybody who's obviously watching, thank you guys so much for the support now on. It's been incredible. If you want to get the pay-per-view, go to the high5aw.com. Laws, you have a code as well, right?
Did you guys send me the code?
Well, now I look like an asshole. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure we sent you a code. If not, we're going to send you that code.
If you send me the code, I'll put it up in some posts. But yeah, if you guys like, more than anything, guys, if you want to watch it, make sure you head over and you know, you get the pay-per-view. It's going to be really good. Some amazing arm wrestlers on this card. Some guys that, you know, if you've kind of only watched the you know, East versus West and King of the Table, there are guys competing in this that are more than good enough to be on that stage, and guys that want those chances to compete against the very best. I mean, the main event here, you've got two of the absolute best in the world, which is just going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And then if you guys are in Ohio in a few weeks, come stop by. We'll have a booth. I know Laz is going to stop by. That'll be fun. I got to snag you away from the strong. Just come on down. Just come on.
You'll have to,
I want the opposite. I want you to be able to get me a hookup and sneak in and sit and watch some of the strongest men on the planet. That's what I want to do.
It's going to be fun. The Arnold is always a great, just great weekend of strength. Obviously, the strongman's going on, the bodybuilding, there's powerlifting, there's grip sports, arm wrestling, absolutely everything. It's just a fun weekend. We love heading over there.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Everything that Rogue does is nuts. They set the whole place up. We're hoping and working on maybe collaborating with Rogue on an arm wrestling table. We'll see.
That should be, you should 100% do that. One thing I'll give credit to Rogue, they make incredible equipment.
Oh yeah, it's some of the best stuff in the world, hands down, no question. But yeah, I'm just so excited. And yeah, Laz, we are just actually, so this time next week we will be doing our today's Thursday, so in just under a week we're doing our press conference, and then on Saturday we'll have the pay-per-view. So it's going to be good.
It'll be fun, man. I'm looking forward to coming over.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, like, comment, subscribe.
Absolutely. Take it easy, guys.
Have a good one.
There we go. End the stream.